I was infuriated when people that I knew that I was friends with were trying to tell me that Hillary Clinton was a good choice. And that's the same choice. I'm like, look, I don't know if she's murdered people, but I know that I worry that she's murdered people. That's a real, I really wonder. Like this Seth Rich shit.
I know, first of all, just leave, you don't even need to go there. You know,
there's so many other things.
This woman should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent.
Hillary Clinton doesn't just walk into a roast. She walks in carrying decades of baggage, dragging behind her a political resume so heavy it should have its own zip code. Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly don't need to reach for material because it's all piled up like a yard sale of scandals, awkward speeches, and presidential campaigns that collapsed harder than a folding chair under a sumo wrestler. Her career is the definition of giving comedians overtime pay, because the blunders practically roast themselves.
Doesn't mean that Hillary would have been a good choice either. She was a terrible choice.
We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to be just pass-throughs, that they shouldn't be judged for the content that is posted.
She's a corrupt politician, one of the most unlikable people that's ever run for office.
We now know that that was an overly simple view.
They were trying to get people to be supporting her just because she's a woman.
Hillary Clinton has a very weird and I think shitty marriage. I don't think she has a husband who is in love with her or faithful to her. And I think I can't really blame him because she seems to have accepted this behavior since the inception of their marriage. And so past his prologue, you're going to get what you tolerate. You know, what you permit, you promote. She spent all of her daughter's upbringing.
If you're enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. The hook is that Hillary always wanted to be the inevitable president, the historic leader, the glass ceiling shattering icon. Instead, she became the world's longest running political punchline. Rogan and Kelly tear through her record not with solemn critique, but with sarcastic precision, reminding everyone that Hillary's reputation isn't just dented, it's been totaled. She is remembered less for policy and more for paranoia, less for leadership, and more for the unforgettable comedy of watching someone trip on their own ambition. That's the Clinton brand. Ambition without charisma, strategy without victory, and spin without traction.
She did need to distract from that email scandal, which was around her neck like an albatross. Trust me, we were covering it every night on the Kelly File at Fox News. She had clearly violated the law with that homebrew server that had been accessed by foreign agents. She compromised national intelligence information. She did things she would never have allowed anybody at the State Department to do under her.
Rogan doesn't waste time poking at the obvious contradictions. Hillary somehow managed to present herself as both a Washington insider and the ultimate revolutionary outsider, depending on which crowd she was pandering to. Kelly jumps in by pointing out that when your brand is relatable grandmother, but every photo op looks like a hostage negotiation, maybe relatability isn't your strength. Every campaign stop turned into a tutorial on how not to connect with voters, as if she took charisma lessons from a malfunctioning Roomba.
This one is wild. This is Hillary Clinton in like 2008, and Hillary Clinton saying some wild MAGA type shit.
I think we gotta have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked, they're gone. If they...
She's a Republican.
If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English.
And the emails, oh, the emails. They're not just a scandal. They're the political equivalent of forgetting to clear your browser history before loaning out your laptop. Rogan riffs on the absurdity of someone with decades in politics acting shocked that people care about security, while Kelly points out that Clinton's defense was always less about responsibility and more about reminding everyone that technically rules are flexible if your last name is Clinton. The scandal wasn't just about emails. It was about arrogance so thick you could bottle it and sell it as perfume called entitlement.
Platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X, Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control.
This is going to be her history. Women, ladies, I stand with her.
And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
So there's all these women that have this blind allegiance towards this career politician, completely full of shit. She's been full of shit forever.
But nothing defines Hillary quite like 2016. Rogan emphasizes that she had every possible advantage: money, media, establishment power, and a campaign staff so bloated it could have doubled as its own small government. Yet she still lost to Donald Trump, the man who turned every insult into a rallying cry. Kelly slices deeper, reminding audiences that Hillary's campaign slogan might as well have been, "It's my turn," as if the presidency was a family heirloom. Losing to Trump wasn't just a defeat. It was a humiliation so massive it rewired political history.
And Chelsea Clinton is not a nice person. And I think really is just sort of getting along based on the family name at this point. And so now she's got a daughter who I guess married a rich guy, but is struggling in her own right. Hillary's in a loveless marriage. She probably doesn't have a lot of real friends, just people who are glamours. And so she absolutely does have to write a fifth memoir and go on MSNBC and be told that she's amazing.
That election wasn't a clash of ideologies. It was a choice between a candidate who never stopped talking and a candidate who never started connecting. Hillary's inability to read a room became legendary. She wasn't delivering speeches, she was performing PowerPoint presentations for crowds who were already asleep. Rogan jokes that her rallies felt like mandatory HR meetings, while Kelly adds that if enthusiasm could be measured, Hillary's supporters would have registered somewhere between apathy and dental appointment. Then comes the endless book tours, the explanations, the interviews, where she blamed everyone from misogyny to the Russians to the FBI to bad weather for her loss. Rogan skewers the irony. The one thing she never blamed was herself. Kelly sharpens it by pointing out that Hillary treating accountability like kryptonite is exactly why she never resonated with voters. People can forgive mistakes. The Clinton brand has always been a bizarre partnership built less on love and more on mutual political survival. Bill has his own hall of shame, and Hillary built her entire public identity around standing beside him, no matter how humiliating the scandals got.
Is that the 2011 thing where Obama allowed people to use propaganda against United States citizens?
Hillary Clinton is and has been an outstanding public servant.
What was done then under Obama, effective repeal of it, was called the Smith Modernization Act.
She was a great Secretary of State for me.
At the time, the media and media control was seen as the linchpin crux of winning the Cold War, piping in pro-U.S. media influence.
Rogan laughs at the absurdity of someone who wanted to present herself as a feminist icon while defending the world's most famous philanderer. Kelly twists the knife further, noting that the image of Hillary defending Bill's behavior while preaching about women's rights is the kind of hypocrisy you couldn't script if you tried. Her speeches to Wall Street banks became another running gag. Nothing screams champion of the people quite like pocketing six figures for telling Goldman Sachs what they already knew. Rogan riffs that if populism had a natural predator, it would be Hillary Clinton in a pantsuit, cashing checks while talking about empathy. Kelly underscores the absurdity by pointing out that every word she uttered for Wall Street was guarded like it was the nuclear codes, as if revealing them would prove the cynics right. And of course, it did. Rogan roasts the image of a woman so rehearsed that even her spontaneity felt choreographed, while Kelly compares her to an AI chatbot stuck in beta mode, always trying to mimic human connection but never quite getting it right.
You know, I was getting shot at. It's like, I can't imagine, I was just talking about lack of empathy. I can't imagine being in a situation where I'm on television and I'm saying things that are so removed from the truth.
Right.
Like, I can't wrap my head around that.
Well, Hillary did the same thing.
Well, she's a congenital liar, as she was referred to by the New York Times back in the day. But,
and rightly so, but people forget this. She did talk about a firefight that she was involved in.
I was under sniper fire. And the worst thing about that people didn't give a shit about, she said when she was in Bosnia, she was under sniper fire. It's like, wait a minute. You're throwing the Secret Service under the bus. Because what kind of Secret Service is going to let the First Lady run under sniper fire?
What makes the roast so delicious is that Hillary still insists she was wronged by history. Rogan finds the irony in someone who had every institution lined up behind her still claiming the game was rigged. Kelly cuts in with the sharper observation that Hillary didn't lose because people hated women. She lost because people didn't like her. America was willing to elect women to governorships, to Congress, even to vice president, but when it came to Hillary, the enthusiasm flatlined. The problem wasn't gender, it was Hillary Clinton herself. And the best part? She hasn't left the stage. She hovers in the political background, dropping commentary on elections, hinting at comebacks, and reminding everyone of why they didn't vote for her the first time. But no roast is complete without the legacy. Hillary Clinton's legacy isn't about trailblazing, it's about tripping. She had every chance to become history's icon, but cemented herself as history's warning.
How dare she? She puts out this tweet, and it's a picture of her, a much younger Hillary, and the caption on the hat reads, "But her emails." And she writes in her tweet, bringing this back in light of recent news. Get a limited edition But Her Emails hat and support Onward Together groups working to strengthen our democracy. The nerve of this woman to have committed federal crimes and to have gotten off because James Comey didn't have the spine to bring it. And now seeing her political opponent get a different result and trying to take some sort of I told you, but my emails, that was never a thing, lap is galling.
Kelly drive that point home with merciless clarity. She was the politician who turned inevitability into impossibility, who mistook entitlement for destiny, who proved that even the most powerful resume can't buy authenticity. The punchline isn't that she lost to Trump. The punchline is that she made it possible. For Trump, Hillary will forever be the rival who gave him his crown. For Democrats, she will always be the candidate who snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. For comedians, by the time Rogan and Kelly finish dismantling her, Hillary doesn't look like the powerful stateswoman she wanted to be remembered as. She looks like the politician who tried too hard, held on too long, and ended up as the eternal punchline. Her story isn't one of triumph, but of irony. Not of progress, but of parody. She wanted the presidency to be her legacy, but instead, her legacy is the laughter of those who watched her miss it.
Hillary Clinton, of course, is the original election denier. I'm sure you voted for her in 2016.
Well, she's not an election denier.
She absolutely was the OG election denier.
First of all, she came out before the sun had risen to concede the election to Trump.
And then spent the next 4 years saying he was illegitimate. He was an illegitimate president.
Okay, well, first of all, she didn't say he was an illegitimate.
Yes, she did.
You tell me exactly what she said.
She said those exact words repeatedly.
Hillary Clinton's saga closes not with applause, but with sarcasm. She wanted monuments. She got monologues. She wanted admiration. She got impersonations. She wanted power. She got parody. Rogan and Kelly don't just roast her, they finish what history started, reducing her myth to rubble and leaving only the comedy standing. What makes the collapse so biting is that Hillary believed her story was destined for history books written in reverence. Instead, her chapters are filled with punchlines and ironic footnotes. Every step she took toward the White House seemed choreographed for legacy. But the legacy that stuck wasn't the one she scripted. Instead of soaring speeches, Hillary turned herself into a symbol of entitlement without realizing it. Kelly amplifies this, pointing out that symbols only work if people believe in them. The only thing Hillary managed to symbolize by the end was the widening gap between political elites and the people who never saw themselves in her. Her failure wasn't just personal, it became emblematic of everything voters were rejecting.
One of those things where women want a woman to be president so bad. They want one for the team so bad. And then there's so many people from the left that think she has the best chance of beating Trump or whoever is on the right, that they want her so bad. They're willing to exonerate her from so many different horrendous things. And one of the things I always point out, like, people want to talk progressive. You want to talk, being left wing, and she didn't even believe in gay marriage until 2013.
She wasn't the politician who brought people together. She was the politician who reminded everyone of how tired they were of politics as usual. Kelly jokes that her campaign stops could have doubled as Ambien trials, while Rogan underlines the fact that her speeches weren't inspiring. They were exhausting. It's the cruel twist of her career. The more she tried to craft her destiny, the more she exposed her inability to connect. What should have been her finest hour instead became a clinic in how to alienate the very audience she needed. Her persistence in lingering after defeat added an extra layer of comedy to the tragedy. Most politicians fade gracefully when their time is up, but Hillary hovered like a shadow that wouldn't leave the stage. Every new commentary or interview became another reminder of why she had lost. Rogan finds the humor in her inability to let go, describing her as the perpetual houseguest who doesn't understand the party ended years ago. She could turn a single loss into a group project of excuses, assigning responsibility to sexism, to media, to opponents, to forces beyond her control. What she never did was turn the mirror on herself.
Back to Hillary, the whole, she has a hat she's tweeted herself out wearing, but her emails. She's tried to turn it into this ridiculous joke, like, but the moon landing, like you nutcases who are still railing about this made up scandal, this thing that, you've used to try to unfairly tar me. She did need to distract from that email scandal.
Rogan ridicules this lack of introspection, reminding audiences that accountability is what makes leaders trustworthy. Kelly adds that refusing to accept fault only made her look more calculating, someone for whom excuses were easier than self-reflection. The comedy wasn't just in her defeat, but in the way she explained it, turning interviews into masterclasses in self-delusion. Her marriage remained the ultimate contradiction in her public life. She branded herself as a feminist leader while tethering her identity to a man whose scandals would have destroyed anyone else's career. Even her attempts at authenticity backfired into parody. Carrying hot sauce, awkward dancing, overscripted banter, all of it felt like someone trying to hack relatability with props instead of presence. Rogan skewers the robotic quality of her performances, likening them to rehearsals gone wrong. Kelly points out that sincerity can't be manufactured, and every attempt to manufacture it only highlighted how much it was missing. In the end, Hillary became less of a leader and more of a character study in how not to connect with people. The final humiliation isn't that she lost, it's that she became unforgettable for the wrong reasons. Politicians lose elections all the time. Most are remembered for what they tried to accomplish, even if they failed. Her missteps provided the script, and comedians like Rogan and Kelly only had to deliver the lines. The tragedy is hers, but the comedy belongs to everyone else.